Hello everybody, and welcome to Cosmic Waves Tarot. Thank you so much for being here and for spending some time with me. Today we have a very special Summer Solstice reading. So I'm going to draw 2 cards per sign and read for every single sign. So I would encourage you to listen to your rising sign as well as your sun sign and maybe also your moon sign as well. And if you have a partner or a best friend, roommates, other people in your life that impact you and are close to you, I would suggest listening to their readings as well to see what's going on with them during this time. I love the summer solstice. I think it's such a beautiful time of the year. In the northern hemisphere, we have the sun for the longest part of our day. Even if you don't follow astrology, I think the solstice is a great time to have a check-in. We're about halfway through the year, so I would use this opportunity to reflect on how things are going just broadly. Even if the reading does not resonate with you, I think it's a good opportunity for some self-reflection to see what resonates, what doesn't, maybe what you hope lies ahead in this season. So without further ado, I'm just going to go through each sign of the zodiac, starting with Aries. I'm going to ask the tarot for some insight onto what we can expect for this sign and this upcoming cycle of the year. So I would imagine from the summer solstice, maybe to the fall equinox, getting a sense of what might lie ahead for each sign. So thank you for watching this introduction. Without further ado, I'm going to shuffle and start with Aries. So let's go ahead and start with Aries, the very first sign in the zodiac. If you're an Aries sun, moon, rising, this may be applicable to you. Or if you have significant Aries placements in your chart, perhaps this will also be applicable for you. So it looks like we have the Ace of Swords and the Magician. This is a really great combination, Aries. I'm very happy to see this for you. So let me start off with the Magician. As you can see, it's a major arcana card, very bright, which indicates some positivity, some good news, I would say. The Magician here has all the elements laid out on his table, and he's clearly doing some sort of spell, some sort of magic. The Magician is all about the ability to create what you want, the ability to manifest, and to make your desires come true. When the Magician comes up, it indicates that you have all the resources you need. You just need to do a little bit of work, maybe a little bit of magic to make it happen. But you are absolutely able to do so. You're in a very powerful position, and things look very, very promising for this season for you, Aries. Also supporting this, we have the Ace of Swords. Swords in the tarot correspond to logic, the mind. It's an air sign, and I like that air kind of feeds the fire of Aries in this situation. The Ace as well corresponds to some new opportunities, new ideas. So when you have this kind of potential or this influx of energy in this area, often the Ace of Swords indicates some breakthroughs, some really great ideas coming through, maybe some creative work or some great analytical thinking can be done during this period. Maybe you'll start thinking about your life or certain issues in a new way. And I think this Ace of Swords is very supportive of the Magician here, because if you're able to understand things in a new way or expand the way you think, then you will have the power and the ability to manifest your dreams. So I love the way that these two cards work together, Aries. I think that this upcoming season from the solstice to the eclipse will be very positive for you. So I'm very happy to report that things look very, very excellent for Aries. Next up we have Taurus, our wonderful, stubborn, grounded earth sign bull. I do love Taurus. I find that they have a very wholesome energy. So if you have a Taurus sun, moon, rising, or a lot of other Taurus placements in your chart, this will be applicable for you. Let's see what Taurus has in store. We have the Knight of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles. Two wonderful court cards here for you, Taurus. And I love that they kind of correspond to your sign as well. The Knight of Cups is a really great card. Cups in the tarot correspond to emotions, relationships, your inner world. And the Knight is a very sweet and helpful figure here. Knights have a lot of energy. They offer protection and some growth. They also indicate a boost of energy. And they can even be a specific person that is coming into your life in this area. Or perhaps you will embody the Knight of Cups. I always think especially the Knight of Cups is a very sweet and gentle figure. He has a lot to offer. He's kind of offering this cup, and he's approaching very peacefully on his horse. Some of the knights in the tarot move very quickly, and they look like they're kind of flying in, but this knight approaches very gently. The horse's head is down in this very kind of calm and even regal demeanor. And so if this is you, you have a very open heart during this time, and you have a lot to give to others, and maybe you will encounter this energy in other people, that they approach you with this very sweet, open-hearted, and respectful demeanor. Complementing that, we have the Queen of Pentacles. She's a very beautiful card, and I like to think of her as a mini empress. Pentacles in the tarot correspond to physical things like your health, money, home, any material objects. And Taurus, of course, being an earth sign as well, this is an extremely important realm for you. Taurans like to feel at home. They like to have kind of the material comforts around them oftentimes. And so this queen indicates a lot of positivity, generosity, and nurturing in this area. So I would spend some time between this solstice and the next equinox, maybe focusing on your home, your health, your finances, giving them a lot of time and attention and nurturing them. Just kind of trying to bless those around you in this realm and get those blessings for yourself as well. I think these two cards work very well together. They complement each other in different ways. And so I'm very glad that both your relationships and your physical health and material realm will be influenced positively during this time. Next up we have Gemini. I'm a little partial to this sign since I do have a Gemini sun. So let's see what to expect for Gemini. We have the Six of Wands and the Two of Wands. These cards go really well together. They're both wands, and they both have a very positive aspect to them. I'll start with the two. Wands in the tarot correspond to energy, to passion, creativity. It's the fire sign of the deck. And so too, of course, follows the Ace. So there's more than just the potential, but there's really the beginning of something new in this realm. So with the Two of Wands, it indicates that projects are starting to get off the ground, that movement is starting to happen, you're having some momentum, perhaps in a creative endeavor. As you can see with the artwork here, this man is holding a globe and looking out over the sea. So you can kind of imagine that he's starting to plan a trip or starting to think about maybe some global trade, some sort of project that he's working on. And so I really like that this card indicates some forward progress and some momentum because it works very well with the Six of Wands, our other card. Again, because wands correspond to energy and creativity, the Six corresponds to public recognition and fame, or at least some sort of appreciation for your efforts. And so not only do we have something getting off the ground, something starting, and maybe for the same project or maybe a different project, we also have some recognition, some applause. This card often comes around when either you are receiving recognition for your hard work, or it's time to give someone else credit for a project that they've been working on. But oftentimes it is about you and your own efforts and your own recognition. So I really like the way that these two work together, and it seems that this time from the solstice to the equinox will be a very fruitful time for our energy, our creativity. Not only will we feel a lot of momentum and progress, but we will also get recognized for our efforts, and hopefully those work very well together. So good luck to Geminis on your projects, and I can't wait to see what you come up with before the next equinox. Our next sign is Cancer. This is a wonderful water sign, very emotional and intuitive. So let's see what is coming up for Cancer. We just had a wonderful Jupiter transit into Cancer as well. Cancer, it looks like we have the King of Swords and Death coming up. These are two very powerful cards to be working together. Let's start with Death, because this can often appear to be a very scary card or a card that people don't want to see. However, it's not always a negative connotation. The artwork is very rich in this card. We have this skeletal figure riding a horse, and there's clearly destruction in his wake, but there's also a sunrise in the background. And so oftentimes when the Death card is pulled, it's because there's a major transformation happening. One chapter is ending, and something needs to be closed before you can move on to the next chapter. I will say, as a personal anecdote, I received the Death card when I did a reading before a very big exam, but I wasn't nervous about it because it had very supportive cards next to it, and I knew that this was closing a chapter of my life as a student before I could move on to something else. So in that instance, Death was actually a positive indicator and showed to me that there was going to be a transformation in my life, and that did come to pass. So Cancer, I'm hoping that this Death card is similar for you. There might be some loss or some closing of a chapter, but really there is something new ahead, as is signified by the sun in this card. And so I hope that this is a time of real transformation and change for you, but not a grievous loss or not something that is too difficult to deal with. And I'm encouraged to see the King of Swords next to this card. Swords in the tarot correspond to logic, the mind, your thinking brain. And the king, of course, is the most decisive and powerful expression of this energy. The King of Swords is not afraid to cut off what isn't working, and he's not afraid to use his power and his influence to get done what he needs to do. And so with this combination of these two cards, I see that perhaps during this time you find something that needs to end, maybe a relationship that you need to cut off, or maybe a job or some sort of situation that isn't working for you anymore. And so by using this King of Swords energy, you have the support and the power and the wisdom to know what you have to end, and you're able to do that while also relying on the energy of this Death card to bring you through this transformation. So I do think that there is a very positive reading for these two cards, and it looks like this time from the solstice to the equinox will be about you figuring out what is closing and how you are able to effectuate that transformation in your life. Next up we have Leo, our wonderful fire sign lion. Let's see what's coming up for Leo in this time. We have the Star and the Four of Pentacles. This is a very interesting draw for Leo specifically because Leos are known for being very fabulous and even a bit materialistic, and so it makes me laugh to see Pentacles coming up for you, Leo. You have the Four of Pentacles, which is actually about conservation and protection. As you know, Pentacles in the tarot correspond to money, to health, home, all the physical things that you can see and touch in the world around you. And as you can see in this card, this figure is holding on tightly to a pentacle. He has the other two underneath his feet and one on top of his crown here. So this is clearly a very well-to-do man. He's dressed in very nice clothing with a crown, but he's clinging very tightly to one of his coins. So when this card comes up, it prompts us to reflect and think about how we manage our resources, whether we're being too uptight, too stingy, or perhaps we need to exercise a little bit more of this conserving and protecting our resources. So it's a good time to think about maybe how you're spending or what your home life is looking like. Are you taking care of yourself and your body? These are all questions that the Four of Pentacles wants you to reflect on during this time. But we also have this wonderful card, the Star, which is, of course, a major arcana card and truly one of the most beautiful restorative cards in the whole deck. The Star is all about reaching your wildest dreams and really looking within, thinking intuitively to move yourself into this next chapter. As you can see, this woman is pouring water into this pond and out into the land here. There's these stars around her. So it's a very wonderful, grounded card, but it's also very fantastical. We have this kind of cosmic influence of the stars that are lighting her way. So when this card comes up, it's time to take stock of your priorities, but really to let your mind wander and think about your goals without necessarily needing to contemplate the logic behind them or wonder how you're going to get there. Just let your imagination run wild and think about what you would want to accomplish in your most outlandish and wildest dreams. So this card encourages you to think big, to dream big, and this Four of Pentacles encourages you to perhaps rein it in terms of your spending, or just to reassess in this area. I do think these two cards can work together though. If you have the foundation of a good, grounded, balanced home, balanced finances, then you are a little bit more free to imagine what you would like to accomplish next and to really embody this energy of the star as you look to the future. So I do think that even though these seem to have a little bit of an opposing energy, I think they can work well together in certain ways. And so I would encourage you to try and find the line between them and work with both energies in the way you see best fits your life. Next we have Virgo. Let's see what's in store for this grounded, analytical earth sign. We have the Hermit and the Nine of Cups. These two energies do complement each other very well, I think. I'll start with the Hermit, since this is the major arcana card in this drawing. The Hermit is all about introspection and taking some time to be by yourself, and perhaps there's a journey that you need to complete alone during this time. It doesn't mean that there won't be any help. It doesn't mean that you're going to be completely without friends or without support, but it does mean that you will have an experience that is unique to you, and you may even feel a little bit isolated during this time. However, as you can see, the Hermit has this lamp that is lighting his way. Most people think this refers to the intuition and the inner guidance that we all have. So this card encourages you to lean on that inner wisdom and just really reflect as you make your way through this journey. We also have the Nine of Cups, and this card is all about individual satisfaction. As you can see, this person has set up this banquet. There's all these cups behind him, and he's clearly ready to have some sort of party or entertain people. But right now he's by himself, and no one else has joined him at his party yet. So this card is about you've achieved a level of emotional satisfaction. Perhaps you feel a lot of stability, but it's not quite at the point that you feel totally completed and fulfilled in terms of your relationships to other people. So you've definitely achieved a good level, but there's just a little bit further to go before you feel completely satisfied in the emotional and relational realm. I do see these two cards interacting in a way that makes a lot of sense, because we have this solo individual who has achieved his own emotional satisfaction but is still working on his relationships with other people. And we do have the Hermit as well, which encourages a solo journey and some deep introspection. This might be a time that you spend a lot of time by yourself, or at least that you feel you are still working to develop your relationships with other people. So I hope that this is not too difficult of a time. It does seem like it will, in the end, be very fulfilling. When the Hermit completes his journey, it's a great accomplishment, and he is much more wise and more fulfilled for having gone through this journey. And same with this Cups card. By the time you get to the 10, it's a really beautiful outcome, and you've accomplished a lot in this area. So it looks like there's a little bit of journeying to go through, a little bit of wisdom to develop during this time, but you're very close to a really wonderful outcome. And so just stay the course, follow the insight of the hermit, and you will get there. Hopefully by the equinox, you feel much more at peace and fulfilled in this area. Our next sign is Libra, another air sign. Let's see what Libra has in store. We have the King of Pentacles and the Moon. These are very interesting cards to see together. Let me start with the Moon. As a major arcana card, this sends a very clear message, a very strong message. And when the Moon comes up, it's all about a time of some confusion or a bit of uncertainty about what is coming next. As you can see, there's kind of an unsettled energy in this card. The wolf and the dog are both howling at the moon, and this lobster is crawling out of the sea onto the land. So some very unexpected and very strange energy. Unfortunately, when we see the moon, it's just something that we have to kind of wait through. There's not much to be done other than sit tight and endure this time. So I hope that the moon is not too disruptive in your life during this time, but you may be feeling a little bit unsure of what's coming next, or maybe a situation is kind of clouding your reasoning or giving you a little bit of pause. And that's okay. It's best during this time just to wait, do a lot of reflection, some journaling, but really there's not much to be done but wait for the situation to resolve itself. You do, though, have a lot of support from the King of Pentacles. Because pentacles in the tarot correspond to your home, your health, your finances, and the king is a very positive and powerful figure in this realm. I would encourage you at this time to lean into that area of your life. It looks like you feel very much in control and very well resourced in these areas. So perhaps while there is some confusion around you in the world, you can lean into improving your home life, really working on your finances, getting your health in order, and then enjoying the rewards of your efforts in this area. As is always true, you can only control what you can control. So by leaning into this King of Pentacles energy and being in control of your own health and home and finances, hopefully that will enable you to wait out the energy of the moon here. So I'm hoping that these will be a balance and that the King of Pentacles can support you as you're waiting through this moon time. So I do hope that they will work together and that you will see your way out of the moon more quickly and more smoothly than perhaps you otherwise would. Next up is Scorpio. Again, a sign that I am somewhat partial to because my rising sign is Scorpio. So let's see what is happening for the Scorpios out here. We have the 5 of Pentacles and the 8 of Wands. These are two energies that are very different from each other. Let me start with the more difficult card first. The 5 of Pentacles is about feeling under-resourced or a little bit out in the cold, and you can see this literally. There are 2 beggars in this card. They're out in the snow, and they're clearly having a hard time kind of going through their life. They look not super well. This, young man has a bandaged foot and is on crutches, and this woman is also barefoot and holding her shawl around her. They look kind of cold and, frankly, pretty miserable. So when this card comes up, it does encourage us to look for help and support. As you can see, they're passing a church, is the traditional reading of this card. They're passing this beautiful stained glass here. So you kind of look at these figures and think, if only they would look up, they would see that there's a place that they can go for some support and some refuge. So when the Five of Pentacles comes up, we might be feeling a little bit under-resourced, a little bit lacking in our finances, our home, our health, but there are places and people that we can turn to for some assistance in these areas. So if this is how you're feeling, do look for community groups, for other resources, ways that you can improve in this area, so that hopefully you stop feeling like these two figures in this card and start feeling a little bit more secure and better resourced in these areas. And we do also have the Eight of Wands. This card is all about energy moving quickly, things coming together very smoothly, and in fact, everything aligning very well. As you can see, these 8 wands are all pointed in the same direction. And so when this card comes up, oftentimes your creative projects or just the things you're passionate about are moving very quickly and are being supported in a very positive way. So perhaps, even though we're feeling some sort of lack of resources in one area, we do see a lot of progress and a lot of momentum in another area. So I'm hoping that this Eight of Wands cards is very supportive in getting us out of this Five of Pentacles energy. We don't want to be stuck here for a long time, and hopefully we have more of this than this card here in this time period. Hopefully too, even if we are feeling a little stuck in our physical realm, we do feel more fulfilled in our creative projects. And so I'm hoping that this energy of the Eight of Wands carries us through this time. Our next sign is Sagittarius, a very adventurous and fun-loving sign. Let's see what is next for Sagittarius at this time. We have the Nine of Pentacles and the Empress. These are two great cards, and in fact, I often see the Nine of Pentacles as a mini Empress. So I love that these two cards came up together in this reading for Sagittarius. Let's start with the Empress. She's a wonderful major arcana card, and the Empress expresses the archetype of a very nurturing, beautiful, and kind leader. The Empress also corresponds to creativity and oftentimes fertility as well. The wheat that is around her feet is an ancient symbol of fertility, and as well this river that's flowing through is symbolizing life and energy in this area. She's also very regal. The Empress is reclining on this chair. She has a beautiful flower crown as well. So all of these features also indicate just how powerful, yet how abundant she is. So when the Empress comes up, it really does encourage you to lean into your creative projects, or if there's something that you want to bring into the world, whether it is a literal child or just a new project, a new endeavor that you've been working on, the Empress is extremely supportive and helps you to realize whatever you want to create. We have as well the Nine of Pentacles, and you can see visually a lot of similarities in these cards. The background is yellow, which indicates positivity and optimism and good feelings. They also are wearing very similar attire. They both have beautiful robes on with flowers and nature motifs, and they're surrounded by nature in their respective cards as well. The Nine of Pentacles is about individual success. This person has clearly reaped the benefits of these crops that they've sown. You can see there are grapes on the vine that are ready for picking. So this person is clearly very well resourced and living their best life with their exotic bird and their beautiful gown in their wonderful garden. So when these two cards comes up, it's a bit of a congratulations. You've clearly accomplished something. This is a very positive time in your life, and really it's time to kind of relax and enjoy the luxury that you have earned for yourself. Again, the Empress encourages creativity and generosity. So if you are feeling like you have more than enough to go around, the Empress encourages you to share that with others. And two, this will help you level up from the 9 to the 10 of Pentacles and really share your wealth and your resources with everyone around you. But it looks like this will be a very abundant and fruitful time for you. And so I'm very glad to see these two cards come up together. I think it is an extremely positive indicator. Next up is Capricorn. Let's see what is in store for our Capricorn friends this season. We have the Nine of Swords and the Emperor. As you can see, it's a lot of kind of cold energy for you, Capricorn, but hopefully it will not be as scary as it perhaps looks at first glance. I'll start with the Emperor. This major arcana card is all about wisdom, power, and judgment. If you feel that you are already very well resourced in these areas, that you're able to make important decisions, that you feel very in control, then the Emperor can come along to remind us to exercise our power in a wise and kind way and not to be too harsh. As you can see, the Emperor is wearing his armor underneath his robes, so he looks approachable, but he has the preparation for war underneath his very regal demeanor. He's also holding traditional symbols of power, like the orb in his hand, and he has the crown to signify his wealth and influence. So if you feel that you need a little bit more of this energy, then you can work with the Emperor card and try to bring in some of this powerful, decisive, wise energy into your life. And if you already feel like you embody the Emperor quite well, then it's still a good opportunity to reflect on what you are ruling over in your life and how you're exercising that power. It does, however, look like there might be some challenges or at least some stress during this time. The Nine of Swords is about anxiety and some mental anguish. Perhaps anguish is a strong word, but this card does show someone who has just woken up from a nightmare. They're sitting up in bed and they're holding their head. Clearly, they just had a very bad dream, or they're really struggling to get back to their waking life. These swords are also hanging over their head, and so this person is not themselves in any danger. but they feel the stress and they feel the anxiety of what might be to come. Oftentimes when this card comes up, it's because you are experiencing some of this energy, perhaps some of this anxiety. Whether or not you actually have anything to worry about is a different question. So if you do feel this Nine of Swords energy, I would encourage you to work with the Emperor energy to hopefully feel a little bit more in control of your situation and more secure and well-resourced in your own power. Hopefully the energy of the Emperor can support you as you go through this time dealing with the Nine of Swords. And hopefully the Emperor as well just helps you to feel a little bit more empowered. As always, the tarot is about the energies as they exist right now. Nothing is set in stone, and this certainly doesn't mean that you're in for a very difficult time. It just signifies to me that you should look out for this energy. Try not to get in your head too much, and if you are feeling this way, focus on what you can control and what decisions you are able to make with the help of the Emperor. Our next sign is the wonderfully unique and offbeat Aquarius. So let's see what is happening for Aquarius, what you can expect in this time. We have Temperance and the Page of Wands. These are two very interesting energies to work together, but I'm really happy to see them balance each other out. Let me start with the Page of Wands. Wands, of course, correspond to energy, creativity, and passion. And the page is always someone that I think of as kind of an intern or apprentice. They're someone who is quite young and a bit inexperienced, but they have a ton of energy and they really want to learn in this area. As you can see, the page is looking up. He seems very excited, and he's holding his wand, not sure what to do with it, but he's ready to use it however he can. So when the page comes up, I see that this is a time of learning and great development in this area. Perhaps there's some sort of creative project or a side passion that you're working on, and you're not quite sure what direction it's going to take, but you have a lot to give in this area, and you're very excited about what could lie ahead. So the page just encourages you to dive straight into it. Don't take yourself too seriously. You can look to other people for support and learning, but really the page is just about getting your hands dirty, diving in, and doing your best to make this project come to life. We also have the very balancing and supportive energy of Temperance to kind of help, balance the Page of Wands. Temperance is all about taking a middle path and not acting with any extreme behavior. As you can see, Temperance features this angel who has one foot in the water and one foot on the ground. So they're very grounded, but as well, because they are an angel, they have this very intuitive and kind of celestial energy. When Temperance comes up, it reminds us to be very prudent, to think very carefully before we take certain actions, and whatever action we do take, to make sure that it's not one of the extreme paths that we could take, but rather to find a reasonable middle ground and consider all the consequences of our actions before we move forward. So it looks like the page is, of course, very energetic, very open to trying new things, ready to dive right in. And Temperance says, yes, let's move forward, but let's do so very mindfully, with a lot of patience, and without, abandoning all caution to the wind. So Temperance kind of reins in this Page of Wands energy, but really Temperance is in it for the long haul. So in this situation, I see Aquarius is extremely unique. They have very incredible ideas that are sometimes a little off the wall. They think in ways that other signs of the zodiac do not. So they have this Page of Wands energy that they're just ready to explore the world and, create their own path forward. And Temperance says, yes, but let's do so in a way that's harmonious, that doesn't burn you out, that can support you in the long run. And so I do encourage you, Aquarius, to work with both of these energies. One might feel more natural than the other, or perhaps more relevant at different times. But Temperance is always here to kind of hold our hand, rein us back in, and make sure we're on a good path. But it does look like this will be a positive and fruitful time for you as well. So I would just encourage you to balance these energies as you move forward during this time. Last but certainly not least, we have Pisces, the final sign in the zodiac, the most intuitive, watery sign. Let's see what we have in store for Pisces. The Knight of Swords and the Seven of Cups. I will say I was a little surprised to see the Knight of Swords come up, but I do think it's balanced in its own way with the Seven of Cups. Let me start with the cups, since Pisces is a water sign and cups correspond to water, emotions, relationships. This is a little bit of a difficult energy, to be totally honest, or at least something that requires a lot of reflection and some working through. The Seven of Cups is about emotional overwhelm or feeling a little bit of choice paralysis. As you can see, this figure is in a silhouette at the bottom of the card, and he's looking at these cups that have different things to offer him, whether it's money or fame or some sort of other power. He's a little bit confused about which one he should pick, and he's also tempted by all the different offerings. So when this card comes up, it can indicate feeling a little bit overwhelmed or not sure which direction to put our energy into in terms of our relationships and emotional realm. Should we invest emotionally in other people? Should we invest emotionally in ourselves, in a different project? And so when this card comes up, it's time to really step back and work on making a decision. Because if you stay like this figure for too long and you don't take an action, you don't make a decision, then you just spend your time in this paralyzed state, unable to move forward, and that ends up being bad for everyone. So in order to break out of this kind of paralysis, we have the energy of the Knight of Swords. And as you can see, this is probably one of the faster moving cards in the tarot. This knight is absolutely flying in on his horse, and the horse even looks a little bit scared. They look slightly out of control, but the knight is just driving forward, saying, "Let's go." Of course, swords correspond to the mind, to logic, and because this knight is moving so fast, it's a little bit about throwing logic to the wind and just moving forward, irrespective of what the consequences might be. So on the one hand, we have this extremely fast-paced and a little bit careless energy, and we also have some stagnation or some difficulty moving forward in the cups. And so I'm hoping that these energies can balance each other out, or at least maybe rein each other in. If you're feeling too stuck in this Seven of Cups, maybe you can lean into this Knight of Swords energy and just try something. Even if you're not sure if it's going to work, if you make a decision and move forward with it, you can always regroup yourself and try something different if you feel that it was not the correct decision. On the other hand, if you feel like you're careening forward a little bit too quickly, you can take a step back and use some of the reflection that we find in the Seven of Cups to think about, what am I putting my energy towards? What do I want to do? Is this the right way forward for me? So between these two cards, there's not necessarily a better way. The Knight of Swords is more action-oriented, so I would lean more heavily towards this card rather than the Seven of Cups. But in general, I do hope that they balance each other out and you find a way forward that is not too much leaning in one direction or the other one. Try to use the energies of both cards to move forward in a way that makes sense for you. Thank you everyone for watching this summer solstice reading. I hope your reading was helpful. I hope that it will be relevant for you. And again, I would encourage you to come back to this video and use it throughout the season from the solstice now until the fall equinox. It might be good to check in and see how things are going as we go through this time. So thank you again. I'm always happy to do personal readings as well. If you felt that your reading wasn't as relevant for you and you're looking for more individualized insight, please don't hesitate to comment with whatever question you have. I'd be happy to do a reading for you, and I love reading for individuals, so please don't be shy. Please remember to subscribe. I'm planning to do monthly and regular readings like this for every solstice and equinox going forward. So please subscribe so that you don't miss an update. Thank you again, and I hope you have a wonderful day. As always, if there's anything you would like to see, any suggestions, please let me know. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next video.